One thing about life is it's very good to dream. My grandma used to always tell me you can do anything that your mind decides you want to do. So I decided at age 14, I would become the point guard of the Sacramento Kings. And it actually happened in the NBA, the Neighborhood Basketball Association. I was not good enough to get it to the NBA or even to play college ball. So nice try, Grandma, but I'm making YouTube videos instead of being retired from the NBA and making millions of dollars. I guess it just didn't work out for your boy. But there are some people who have other dreams. Michelle Obama said one time that she wished she was Beyonce. Some people wish they were LeBron
James,
or Michael Jordan. But some people have a different wish. They wish they were not the actual color of their skin. Now wait, stop the show. I know you're probably glad to be black, and I'm glad to be black, but there are certain people who are not glad to be black. They would rather be another race. And sometimes when they're talking to other people, they can refer to themselves as the race that they would like to be.
You know, and then some guys are like, hell, I've noticed with black dudes, they don't like doing that. White guys, we're all like, yeah, well, I said we. Yeah, well, not me.
Yeah, he's so white. He's white, Justin. See, he's white. He a black bro.
Hey, man.
That was natural.
I officially just stamped Myron as white.
Now, people who want to be something that they're not understand that others will recognize them for who they are. And they are okay with being disrespected. Listen to what I just said. People who want to be something that they are not recognize that others will see them exactly as who they are.
Can I make this interesting real quick? Myron, you were in my space the other day, and I said, you know, you're doing a great job calling it these Jews, but, you know, if we take this country back, we want it for white folks. And would you go home and you said, I was born here and I'm not going anywhere. And this is where I think the problem is with working with non-whites is that once you think you help us, that you're just going to stay in our country. Do you still stand with that answer?
Bro,
you see, here Myron is trying to be a benefit to white supremacists, but they are letting him know, you're still black, so if we ever get a hold of America, you need to go back to Africa. The guy is threatening to beat him up because of that. But this doesn't change Myron's behavior. Just because people recognize him for being non-white, although he really wants to be white, it doesn't stop him from loving the people that actually dislike him a lot. And it also makes him go harder on those that he hates and despises, the people who are black like him. Stick with me, this is going to be a very interesting episode. When it comes to the black community, Myron and Fresh are, for the most part, going to have the same talking points.
But when they're they do and when you're like that, you know what happens? You become classified as you do dumb fight off of feelings, you drink Hennessy and say it's cool, and as well, you fuck black girls. That's crazy.
And you heard Fresh at the end of that. Dating black women is something that's not very interesting, right? Like if you're a guy, you date black women, it's like, ew, it's nasty. Again, this falls within the premises of Myron being anti-black because he really wants to be white. But again, Myron, who would like to be white, has a dilemma. And there's something that these guys don't realize. You see, just the other day, Myron had a podcast with Donovan Sharp, who is African-American, and Walter, aka Fresh, who was black. Now, somehow in that podcast, Myron asked a particular question.
Why black dudes though, man? Don't you feel a little dirty?
I like it all, so.
You like it all?
I'm sure
like,
she does.
I don't
Yes, she does.
mind, like, I don't like really what race somebody is.
He said something very interesting. Don't you feel kind of dirty dating black guys? Again, this flies over the head of Walter and Donovan Sharp because both of them are black men. And I definitely believe that Donovan would like to be white himself, but he's still black. And Walter is definitely black. And Walter almost exclusively dates white women. He even gets exposed for dating white and Asian women. But neither one of them have understood what Myron is trying to insinuate here. And this is very interesting, being that Donovan Sharp has suffered a lot dating white women. He even teaches black men the downsides of dating white women.
White girls are positively clueless about the things that black males, black men go through on a daily basis. They have no idea what it's like to see a cop in the rearview mirror and have your heart rate elevate, have your blood pressure rise. When a white girl sees a cop behind her, She doesn't think of anything. It's just a cop. Now she feels safe. Me personally, I don't feel safe.
What Fresh doesn't understand here, he's been insulted by Myron in a very bad way. You see, in Myron's mind, blacks are not that smart, even though he's black himself, and he might be cool with Fresh, but Fresh is black. You see, if Myron had a white podcast host, he would basically respect the decisions of that podcast host. You see, he wouldn't overstep the boundaries of Fresh as he does. But because Fresh is black and he looks at black people in a certain way, then he must all make the decisions despite what Fresh wants to do, because what Fresh wants to do doesn't matter because it's limiting anyway. And so for the fact that he comes across white women who want to date black men, he's telling them, listen, since even I'm black, don't you feel dirty? In other words, black men are dirty. Now, just how the white supremacists look at Myron as not to be a guy that's exceptional, he wants to be the exception to the rule. But real white supremacists will never make him the exception to the rule. So is the same mentality that Myron has towards Walter and Donovan Sharp. You see, they're all cool, they're all friendly, but Walter and Donovan Sharp are gonna be in the same class of all black men, despite the fact that they have a relationship with him. You see, Myron is not going to give them the privilege of giving them the benefit of the doubt, just like white supremacists wouldn't give Myron the privilege of getting the benefit of the doubt. It might be okay that he might be cool with the whites, he might go to bat for the whites, but at the end of the day, you're still black. You're not white. You belong over there in Africa. And so Myron, when he looks at Donovan Sharp and he looks at Fresh, he's saying the same thing. Why are you dating black men? Oh no, because Fresh and Donovan are cool. No. That's not his mentality. His mentality is all of you are not cool. And see, what Fresh doesn't realize is he thinks that he has some level of camaraderie with Myron over the years. And he may to a certain degree, but Myron doesn't respect him simply because not that Fresh is dumb or Fresh has a speech impediment or Fresh is not that smart. Stop the show. Well, damn, that's a lot of L's, bro. That's a lot of L's you got going on. The reality is that Fresh is a black man. And so because he's black, he's just completely not smart. And Fresh must get away from Myron before it gets too late, because you're never going to be treated nicely by a person that hates blacks. Story time! I had a friend who dated a white girl, okay? Back in Sacramento, California. He was an excellent student. He went to UC Davis and everything like that. And the white woman really loved him a lot. He was always talking about that, hey, you know, my girlfriend doesn't see color. Their family doesn't see color. It's not a problem. And I would always tell him, like, yo, bro, you're like the only black dude that goes on these trips with them. Like, are you sure that that's okay? He's like, yeah, everything is fine. Like, I don't understand why you always see things, you know, so black and white. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, he went on a trip with them, and he didn't tell me this for about a few years. But it just so happens that something got stolen, all right? There was somewhere in the mountains. He went there with their family, and he had nothing to do with it. But ultimately, he got blamed for this particular item being missing. And it come to find out, he had nothing to do with it. It was actually somebody in the family that had borrowed the item or misplaced the item, but they blamed him solely because he was black. And he was so perturbed by this. He was so hurt by this. He couldn't understand all of this. And I was like, man, you know, you tried to do everything that you could do to basically beat this stereotype that they had of you, but that was never gonna happen. You gotta be around people who actually like black people. And whenever you're around a person that's anti-black, they can't help but be anti-black. And I'm gonna tell you about my career in the Black Manosphere. When we talk about the Black Manosphere and kind of why that community didn't do what it should have done, it wasn't because black men were so anti-black women. I mean, yeah, there was some smoke for black women and some of the things going on in the black community, but the Black Manosphere guys were just anti-black, period, right? Not all of them, but there were quite a few that were. And so what looked like being anti-black woman and anti-black, you know, female issues, it ended up being just anti-black behavior, period. So once we got past the Cynthia G and, you know, some of the little wars we had, we started fighting each other simply because black men just couldn't get along at that particular time. And that's the same thing that you're gonna see with Myron and Fresh. Myron don't like anybody black, even if you're a person talking about black people themselves. Even if you're a black man that don't date black women, he doesn't respect you. He's never gonna respect you. It's only a matter of time before that anti-black thought comes towards you, and then you're gonna be shocked like, yo, bro, I thought we were cool. But anybody like that is going to be dangerous. Fresh, I've already warned you. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Which is your follow, you just heard the bell, we're out.